G'day guys, welcome to Rumble's Fishroom. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. If you're not, I hope you enjoy the channel. Today we're going to walk through all of these tanks and how it all works. I'm not going to edit this video, it's going to be uncut except for me flipping this camera around because I've got to flip the mic. I'm repping a Finding Your Nemo t-shirt today. I'm pretty excited about these guys. They're definitely way better quality than the Rumble's Fishroom ones I ordered. So I might actually speak to the guys at Find Your Nemo and talk to them about where I can get my shirts made. Alright, so let's get on with this tour. Alright, so plenty going on in here, but we're actually going to start the tour outside of the room. So, the water change system. The water change system is actually currently running. It's on its second cycle for the day. The first cycle is like that, and it goes 1, 2, 3, and it ends up at the end of the day at 500 litres on there. So overall, I dump 1,000 litres a day, two times 500. It's controlled by a retic controller. If you go back in my videos, I've actually got a detailed video on this, but I'm just going to quickly jump over it. Water comes in, we've got filters there, water goes, water sits here and circulates for about, I think it's about 18 hours. It's not 24 hours because it's water changed 3 times a day. Comes back down, comes down through here, goes through that, and then goes into the room up there. Another little thing we've got here, which you guys who watch have seen, I got my Daphnia system. That's just starting to colonize in there. If you stand there for like half an hour, you can see one Daphnia. But I've got like baby cultures under the patio. So I've got this turned off at the moment because it actually leaks out of the top there. So I need to get a couple of hose clamps. But basically what that is, that's a heat exchanger in there. That's a chamber that I'll keep cold water in, and so that circulates through there, keeping that cool in summer, but it doesn't actually circulate in the water. It's a closed loop system. Alright, so we've got buffers there. I don't actually use buffers anymore, guys. I used them for years and then I stopped and I didn't notice any difference. So that's retic controller, pressure pump. So like that turns on when that opens because it loses pressure. But that's not what we're here about. We're here to talk about the fish room, really, aren't we? Alright, so here we've got brine shrimp culture. That's what I feed my fry. Some people say that it's too hard, but I'm just in a rhythm now. I do it every day. Then we've got our foods. So I've got a mixture of foods. My main source of food is this here, NLS New Life Spectrum. That's actually not what's in there, but I buy it in the 2 kilo tubs, which are outside. So that's what's in here. There's a bit of a mix in there. We've got Hikari Cichlid Gold and Hikari Blood Parrot Red. I've got some flakes for the Tropheus, and there's some Tanganyikan something in there for the Frontosa. So we'll start off with the pond, I reckon. Stingray pond. It's got floating baskets which house a few fish. So this guy here is actually here because he got beaten up by a girl. You can see on the side of his head. And I put damaged fish near this inlet and they heal really quick. Really oxygenated, nice clean water. We've also got a Frontosa there. She got beaten up by the boy. And she's actually starting to come good. Like, I thought she was a goner, and the Frontosa actually aren't my fish, so if I lose somebody else's fish, I feel so bad, so I've tried really hard to save her. Salmon tail cat, we've got 3 rays down there. What do we got? 63% Leo stingray, or is it? Yeah, Leo. Matoro hybrid, Mantilla hybrid, Scooty grunter, green green bay snook. And my giant gourami, he's the king of the pond. I should say she is the king of the pond. Hybrid male, hybrid female, another flower horn. What else is in here? 2 hybrid females. That one there, I know the mix. It's like 50% Matoro, 25% Mantilla, 25% Leo. But this one, I've got absolutely no idea. And in here, I've actually got my 2 pure Matoros. So this tank here, I kind of jumped then, didn't I? This tank here is 7 by 4 foot. It's just under 4 foot. So if you look, that tank there's 4 foot. That one is like 100 mil shorter. That's a 90 mil post. So when I say 7 by 4, I use that term loosely. That's not quite 7 by 4. It's 2,000 litres, I think. I'm pretty sure it's what size is it? I got a feeling it's 2 meters by 1100 by 2 foot tall. I can't remember. Or is it 2 meters by 1 meter? It's not 2 meters by 1 meter, because look, that's only 100 difference, and that there would be 1250, because that's traditional 4 foot. So that tank, we're done with that one. Let's move up here. All right. So that's 4 by 2.5 by 1.5. That's a very odd sized tank, and I love it. It's probably my am I going to call it? Yeah, it's probably my favourite tank in the room. These are going to be probably my favourite fish too. So these are one of the ones that I wasn't telling anybody about. Capita chromis travessa. The males will end up going almost completely black with a white dorsal fin. They're going to be nice fish. Then this tank here is 4 by 2 by 1.5. We've got a few Malawi trout in there. If they ever breed, I don't know how I'm going to catch them to get the fry. Then we've got Red Empress. But yeah, I'm thinking about changing the food because like the females are colouring up. I don't like that at all. Foscos. These guys are in a 7 by 2 by 1.5. That tank's actually hanging off the roof. There's no leg under there. We've got a female Fosco there and a male there. And there's a male in there. I've only got one female. I'm trying to breed them, but it's not working. Pretty much, I bought nearly 30 of them. I ended up with like 3 girls, and 2 of the 3 were holding. I came out here the next day. This one had spat the eggs, and the other 2 girls were dead. I just can't win with Foscos. It's my second attempt at trying to breed them. The first time I bought 20, and that's actually a girl from the original 20, and I managed to save her from the carnage in the tank, and in the end it was like 8 males just destroying each other. I did sell the males, so I got my money back and saved 1 girl, and I bought them again, and I ended up with pretty much all males again. So I'm determined to breed Foscos. If I lose this girl, I'll probably buy them again, just because if I get a fish that I can't breed and that I lose them, I usually buy them again because they shit me. Alright, so 7, that's probably like the craziest tank in here. There's 3 foot supported by the ceiling. I've got like rafters and shit in the ceiling. It's not going to fall down. This foam here would come loose before it fell, if you know what I mean. Like if that stretched, or if the roof pulled down, the foam would come loose here because the weight would be there, and obviously a tank doesn't flex, and that foam is dead tight, so I'm happy with that. Let's go around the perimeter first, I reckon, guys. I'll show you the fry tanks last. So 5 by 2 by 1.5, that's got flower horns in it. I just picked up this guy the other day. He wasn't in the best of health, but he's recovering really quick. He's going to be a ripper. They're both cleaning the plate, but when I take the divider out, they try and kill each other, so I'm going to have to wait till she's pretty much laying. She's fading. Don't stress, there's nothing wrong with her. She's actually just losing all her colour. It'd be interesting to see what she fades into. Then I got my import boy with the Thai silk. She just laid, but I missed it. I put the eggs in here, but I didn't get the divider out. The worst thing was I was home, but I was asleep. Down here, got code blue peacocks, cobalt blue Mabuna, and Nikali Mabuna. Those tanks, I want to say they're the smallest in the room. I think they're the second smallest in the room. So those are 2.5 foot by 2 by 18, or 1.5 foot. I want to replace this with a 5 by 2 by 18, but it's a huge job. I have to empty both these tanks to do it. So it's on the back burner. So with the cobalt blues, they're only in such a small space because I've actually tried them in a 5 foot and they just started killing each other. I've found sometimes with Mabuna you really have to confine them. Less ground for them, there's not enough room for them to have like separate territories and that, and they don't fight for some reason. Actually, Paul from Morley Aquariums told me is to put them in a small space and just over filter the small space, and that's what I've done there. That tank gets like 20% water change a day, so that tank actually gets more water change than all the rest because there's so many fish in there. There's actually a Nikali that's got through. I wonder how. So I was actually thinking the other day how well they've been divided and they've never got through, and there's a Nikali girl in there. So I'm eating my own words there. Alright, so let's move on. Remind me tomorrow, guys, to change that. Or today. Ask me tomorrow if I have fixed that, because after this video I'll probably forget. Demasoni. This is probably the dirtiest tank in the house for some reason. I've got no idea why. There's only like 4 fish in it. There's a girl in the sponge there. They don't really come out to say hi. I did have they're like the 3rd generation. So someone gave me a pair, I bred the pair, the male killed the female, and then I sold the male, I got rid of the male, grew up the fry, same thing happened again, and then, so I think those guys are the 2nd generation, and then here, there's all the 3rd generation in there, and over there there's more. I think there's some in there as well. So I'm actually going to build a huge colony. So this tank is 2.5 by 2.5 by 1.5. I think it's about 250 litres. It is deceiving because it's only 2.5 foot wide, but it's 2.5 foot front to back. So I can get a huge colony going, and I'm just going to see if I can reduce aggression with numbers. What's that though? Is that a girl? Yeah, so that's one of the girls. This tank, Mason Reef. See a beaten up female here. There's a boy there. These guys are aggressive. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to breed these. I've only got 10. There's actually only 8 in here. There's 2 in my display inside, 2 males. Another fish again, heavy males, like real heavy. I think I've only got like 3 girls. But I'm too scared to take more males out because the males fight between each other and kind of leave the females alone. I really want to breed these guys. A couple of mouthfuls would be nice so I could build a bigger colony. Generally what I try and do, I generally can't afford to buy 30 of a fish, especially the more expensive ones. So I'll buy 10 and try to breed them and put the first batch straight back into the stock. So these tanks are all the same size, 2.5 by 2.5 by 1.5. We got Crabro down here. Same thing again, I think it's male heavy. I don't like my chances of breeding them. We'll try, but even when I bought them, people told me don't buy Crabro because they'll just kill each other. They haven't killed each other yet, but I don't know. They are huge, they are crazy aggressive. Alright, so sorry guys, I really need to clean the glass, but these are my hongi. I don't know where the big male is. There he is. That's another thing. Since swapping my food, some of my hongi have started to go dark. So I think I've made the decision on the food, guys. I'm going back to pretty much pure NLS Thera A. I think I'm just going to feed that. My fish looked the best. I had the most breeding. I might cut it down with some aquaponics food, but at least I know with aquaponics food it doesn't have like color enhancers and shit, so I'll keep the tropical stuff and feed it to my display tank, but for breeding I'm going back to a staple diet. Seem to work the best. Nibochromis linni. These guys, another fish. This is my second attempt at them. I killed the first batch. We'll see how we go with the second attempt. I got a bit more advice on them. I'm trying to do it better than last time. And last time they all died in the first 6 weeks, and this time I've had them for a couple of months. So I think I'm out of that danger zone, like that dangerous moving part. We'll see how they go. Just ignore the food tub. I'm actually feeding the Vitalis, the red packet, not the green one. I accidentally bought the green one, and I just mixed the green one through my daily feed and used the red one for these guys. Masobo, I can't remember what, I think they're Metricola Masobo. See the males just starting to colour up there. I keep pulling males out of this and selling them, so like that's why there's not a fully coloured up male in there. It's actually because I sold him. But I've got to stop. Oh, there's a male there that's pretty coloured up. I've got to stop selling males now. I don't think there's many left. That's another one. I had like, I'm pretty sure I had 25 of them, and they just all ended up being male. Like I just have huge troubles trying to get females for some reason. So these are all still 2.5 by 2.5. My banger. Another example of why I want to go back to staple food. These females are all colouring up, and they're not breeding. The Benga are my most predominant breeders, and there's no mouthfuls in there. Normally, I only strip a few. I selectively strip them because of how many are there. I don't have the space to grow out like 10 mouthfuls at a time. Electric yellows and dragon bloods. Yeah, you can see there, that one. That's a female, starting to colour up. Going back to staple foods. There's actually electric yellow holding in here, which is bizarre because I've been there. She is. I've been struggling, or not struggling. I haven't been getting many mouthfuls out of the electric yellows, and then everything else stops breeding, and the electric yellows are breeding. That's kind of bizarre, really, isn't it? OB peacocks. Males down the back there. He's pretty skittish for some reason. I just realised, guys, I really should have cleaned the glass for this video. It's a bit dumb. He's awesome. I've actually got a better one growing out in my display, which I'll probably use as a breeder. Great thing about having an African display tank is I can grow fish out in it and then choose to breed them if I want. There's actually a colony of dimicomps in here. So this tank is 5 by 2.5 by 1.5. It's got the most skittish dimicomps you've ever met. I've got a couple of mouthfuls of these guys which I'm growing out to replace this group. They're pretty ratty. They're old. I got them old and I'd always planned on replacing them. So that's what I'm going to do. Buccochromis rhodesii. I wouldn't say they're skittish, but they like to sit behind that corner. So when the tank's going here, I'm actually thinking about putting a mirror in there. Why not, hey? Because there's actually going to be like a 1 foot gap to get the tanks in. So I was thinking, what could I put there? Why not a mirror? And then I could actually see into this tank from the mirror. He's not going to come across. So this is only 2 females, 1 male. That's another colony that I plan on replacing because I thought the male was just going to kill the last 2 females because he is very aggressive. But they've been together for like 6 months now since he actually killed another male, and because I had like 15 of these, and the trio seems to be getting along fine for some reason. But I am growing out more to create a new colony. And then my star sapphires, so 5 by 2.5 by 1.5. This is the last colony tank, really. They're still young. They haven't started marbling yet. I have sold I've sold 2 that started marbling. But yeah, so like this guy here should start marbling soon. I've got one in my display tank inside that's marbling. But yeah, slow fish to grow up. Very slow. Gotta have some patience for these guys, that's for sure. But everybody just wants to buy speckled males, so I don't know, it's hard to do. I can't spend 2 years growing out fish for somebody to buy one for $100. Like, it cost me more than that to grow it for 2 years. So I just sell stuff at 4 centimeters. That's the best I can do. Oh, we've got a bit of a quarantine tank here. It's actually got Nibochromis polystigma in it. It's only a small group, but it's all I could get at the time, and the price is really good, so that'll be another one I'll be trying to breed and add to the colony. So then this rack here, those 2 tanks there are going to be 9 foot by 2.5 foot by 1.5 foot, and then this one here is, what is it? I think it's 6 foot. Because just under maybe, because the pond is 4 foot, but almost just under 4 foot. The bottom tank is the full length to that post, whereas the top tanks are shorter because I have to turn them in there. It has to be able to pivot between the wall and these tanks. So I've actually measured the diagonal distance of the tank and made it smaller than that, if that makes sense. So then up here is where my air comes in. That's the air to run the whole fish room. And then the one underneath is the water for the water change system that I just showed you. That's a complete loop system, so it goes around the whole room. Just behind that there, that's the air in and then the air out. What's next? So the only other air pump is the pond runs on the LP40. I used to have 2 running, but it was complete overkill. It was too much flow, so I shut one off. There was no need to run 2. Alright, so now the fryer tanks. So up here, we've got 2 by 2 by 1.5, those 2 there. And then we've got our AC there. So this tank here. Oh, sorry guys. This tank here is my Buccochromis colony. That's my future colony to replace those ones. So those Buccochromis, I think there's about 70 left in there. I have sold some out of there. Are going in the 7x4. The rays are all going in the pond. And if I want to selective breed the rays, I'm actually going to divide the pond. Rays are kind of on the back burner for me. So they're all going in the pond. To me, it's a waste of a tank having them in a tank. Then the other 2x2 by 1.5. This is the secret fish. I wasn't going to post them anywhere, but YOLO. I'll show you guys. So they've got no light on them, because I always flip this light over. And the tank's dirty as hell. So I have to remember the name of them. Labradotropheus travessa, Mapango red. I think. Are they Labradotropheus? I can't remember. But yeah, these guys are super rare. They cost me a shitload of money. It's the most I've ever spent on Mabuna cichlids. And I'm just going to have to wait and see if I can breed them, I guess. Look at that male. And these are only young too, guys. Only just starting to colour up, and they're already gorgeous. So that's the big secret, guys. The other one was the Capitochromis travessa. It's funny how like both the fish I was keeping a secret a travessa, and that's a complete coincidence. And then we got the fry tanks. So we'll do a walk around of them. Dimicomps, Code Blue, Hongi, and OB peacocks. This one's actually got fish in it. They're not fry. Jana Johansi or whatever they're called. Can't remember the name. That's what I'm sticking with for now. These ones, this is actually fry that I've grown out from adults I used to have. There's a couple of odds and sods in there, but that's mainly Herte cichlid. I can't remember the full name. So I pretty much bred them, then I put them in this tank and have forgotten about them. So they've been in there for ages. But yeah, that's going to be a future colony. So I really need to get these 3 tanks here finished, because I've actually pretty much got fish for them. There's a colony here, there's a colony here, and there's a colony there. So yeah, the way I've worked it is, but when those tanks are finished, I should have enough space. Except for these. Hang on, we'll keep walking around this one. So these tanks are 3x2 by 1.5. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're divided one way and then divided across, and that's the filtration. This tank is a crazy mix. It's like electric yellows, marble peacocks, cobalt blues, hongi. So pretty much all the fish in my room I can put in one tank, and I can split them apart. The only ones that I can't is the code blue and the hongi. I mean, the code blue and the Benga peacock. So this rack is code blue, this rack is hongi. That's my rule. I never put them in the same rack. I've got star sapphires growing out here. They're going back into the breeding colony. So that's the first mouthful. And what I said before about throwing them back in, there is some odds and sods in there that aren't stars. Marble peacock, hongi, code blue, and that says marble peacock twice, just in case I didn't know the first time. Marble peacock, hongi, masobo, red empress, and code blue. So I've got plenty of fry. Oh, we've got one rack to go. So then this rack is Benga. It only says Benga. Alright, so we've got star sapphires, Benga, Marble Peacocks, Nikali, Demisoni, Electric Yellows. I think that's it. There's actually a pair of fish in here. I can't remember what they're called. These fry have all jumped across. Prime example why I keep Benga and Kobe in different racks, because they do get across. Some of my tanks have got like sponge up there to stop them getting through. There's a pair of Mabuna in there. I really couldn't tell you the name. The female is OB. I've tried to remember this name 100 times, and I've got it written down. Every time I go to tell somebody, I've actually got to look at it in my notepad. They're like Pseudotropheus something. They're not common. They're rare, and I've only got a pair. That was the same thing again. All males. I could only get 5, and I took the 5 because they're not common. They're rare fish, and the guy I got the 5 off was going to sell me more when he bred more, and the plan was to get like 15 off him, but he never bred them again. They didn't breed for him again, so I just got stuck with 5, and I had 4 males, and it was like 4 confirmed males. And then here's flower horns. There's a female in there. She hides. Male vampire flower horn there. He's about 7 centimeters. All the fry here. So that's one batch, guys. They're vampire cross king pearl. That's the dad there, the one that I showed you before. This guy's a vampire. He's about ready for sale, I reckon. I find it hard to sell them. And then there's a vampire cross monster girl in there, which someone gave me. More African fry. Basically the same as what you've seen before. Oh, this one does have dimicomps in it. So same thing again, see, it's Benga. No code blue on this side. Everything else I can tell the difference. I really want to get these dimicomps going. They're actually growing a bit smaller than the rest, so I was thinking about separating them. And then, yeah, same again. Not dimicomps. Demisoni, Benga, and Hongi. Yeah, those Benga are actually sold. But it's not like there's a shortage of Benga coming through. Well, there is now because they're not fucking breeding. But yeah, anyway. Alright, so down the bottom here, these 2 tanks are basically 3 by 2 by 1.5, but they're glued together. So that's one tank, and I cut a tank in half and glued it on the side. So that's my mate's Dapnoid in there. He's going tomorrow. He's getting picked up. It actually jumped, so it's covered for now. We've got the 2 flower horns, which I showed you guys yesterday, which they're going to be insane fish. Yeah, I'm balls deep in the flower horns at the moment, but I'm not selling Africans, and I'm not giving up African tank space because I refuse to let them overtake my room. Down here, Lawasi, Mabuna, and there's actually Tropheus Mirago. I think it's Mirago, green Mirago. Or is it Mapanga? Mirago. I really got to sell them. I impulse bought them at the auction, but I don't really want to do Tropheus anymore. I used to do heaps of them. We've got a pair of Oscars here. Oscars aren't my thing, but I bought these just because of the insane quality. They're pretty much the best Oscars I've seen, so I bought them. What else have we got? We've got some fry savers up here. So these are my youngest fry. Nikali, Hongi, Cobalt Blue in that one. This one's got OB, Cobalt, Cobe Blue, and Red Empress, and Buccochromis and Dimicomps. So that's an expensive one there. I really got to get them into tanks. Maybe we can sort something out once the DAT goes. And then I can't actually remember what we put in this tumbler, guys. I'm going to have to go through my video that I made about this tumbler and see what I put in there. Rule number 1, always label everything, and I didn't label that. I got so caught up with making a video about using the Zis tumbler that I forgot to label it. As you can see, the rest of my tumblers are empty. People are taking the piss out of me because I'm blaming the food, but I am blaming the food. Like, these tumblers have never ever been empty in the last 18 months. Yeah. I 100% blame the food. That's all I've changed. The room is constant temperature. Just the food. I was trying to grow up brine shrimp, just like the leftovers, but they died, and I'm not sure why. I tried to feed them yeast, didn't work. What haven't we talked about? Oh, just this tub here. So this tub has Malawi hawks in it, the Christii. They're only little. So they're going to be one of those tanks there. So I think what this will end up being, Dimicomps, Malawi hawks, Nibochromis polystigma, and then the Dimicont tank, maybe that can have the Hirte, or whatever they're called. If you want to know the names of any of the fish that I've mentioned that I haven't said the proper names, comment below and I'll reply the real names, because I've actually got all the names saved in a PDF. Oh no, it's not a PDF, it's a spreadsheet, I think. So even though I'm standing here not pronouncing the names correctly or whatever, I have listed every fish that's in here. I don't think I've missed anything. There's a drain that runs around the whole room. The water goes out and down to my retic system. I'm not going to go into that today. I've talked about every tank. We've got flower horn. Yeah, I talked about the flower horn eggs. Oh, just the lights, guys. The LED lights. They're just strip, but they're not the eBay strip. These are actually from an electrical wholesaler. He imports them himself and he gets them made himself. They're very different to the eBay stuff. They're actually inside. You're not going to be able to see it because of the light. They're inside a casing. They're not in like pressed into silicone. They're great. They're on a sensor, and then we've got a LED skylight here which imitates daylight for the fish, so they got day and night time. All the racks are 90 by 45 pine. They all go into the wall, so the rails of my racks are bolted to the studs in the wall, and the studs in the wall are also 90 by 45. So the whole room was built around fish. Like everything's made to take the weight of fish tanks. I think that's about it, guys. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up there, guys. This is a super long video, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to go through everything. A couple of you guys have requested a full room tour, and unfortunately how many fish I've got, the video drags on. If you made it to the end, congratulations. Drop a comment saying that you made it. I hope you enjoyed it. I probably won't do one of these again for a fair while, just because they're too long in my opinion. I don't like the length of the video, but I will do it again. We'll see when things change. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Peace out.